Now, Newcastle United begin their Premier League campaign on Saturday lunchtime with a trip to face Aston Villa at Villa Park. As first games go in the Premier League season, it is pretty difficult indeed. Of course, Newcastle did face Aston Villa on the opening day at St James's Park a couple of seasons ago, and Newcastle on that occasion ran out as 5-1 winners, but Aston Villa went on to qualify for the Champions League. And then last season, Newcastle defeated Aston Villa 3-0 at St James's Park before Aston Villa defeated the Magpies by 4-1 at Villa Park. So certainly the two sides trading punches in terms of the scorelines in recent times. Newcastle, of course, coming into this fixture with a lot going on off the field regarding the Alexander Isak situation. That still remains unresolved, but the striker will not play against Aston Villa because of the uncertainty regarding his future. It's unlikely he'll probably play at all in August whilst the transfer window is still on. So where does that leave Newcastle? Well, to be honest, apart from the obvious omission up front, Newcastle are in pretty good shape. There are no obvious fitness concerns apart from Joe Willock, who picked up an injury during pre-season, but even Eddie Howe admitted that he is not too far away from being fit once again. Apart from that, Newcastle have pretty much a full bill of health, so they have a lot of options to pick from. And of course, despite what some have painted as a negative transfer window so far because of rejections and the Isak saga, Newcastle actually have brought in a lot of good players so far to help bolster their ranks. They brought in Malik Chow from AC Milan, Aaron Ramsdale on loan from Southampton, and of course Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest. They're also set to add Jacob Ramsey from Aston Villa, but he will be unlikely to be available against his former club, having just moved up to the northeast, because he will likely miss the deadline for registration to be involved in time in the fixture. But let's hear now from Eddie Howe, who spoke following the club's final pre-season friendly against Atletico Madrid, which was last weekend, to hear his thoughts ahead of the new season and how he thinks it will shape up, and how sometimes adversity with regards to the transfer window and indeed the Alexander Isak situation can actually create positive outcomes, and certainly something that's Eddie Howe, something he will be hoping to create this season with Newcastle.
I think the players have worked incredibly hard during pre-season. It's been a challenging pre-season. The games we've had have been very difficult. And as I said, the last couple of days, at the moment we don't have 20 players or 22 players that we can put out that gives a really balanced display to both teams. You had Harrison Ashby today playing well as a number 8, but it's not his preferred position. And I think it's always been the case in the teams that I try to build. I think if you have an area of the team that's not quite functioning as it needs to, and no criticism of any individual, because the team needs to function in a certain way for it to perform at its best. We couldn't do that with 2 11s, so we had to try and get the best out of the 2 games. I thought we've done that. But now the priority is just Aston Villa, and we're putting out 1 11 and a squad hopefully that can win the game. I think any season can go one or two ways. I think I understand the question. I always try to keep a very balanced view on things. It's never as good as you think it is when you feel good, and it's never as bad as you think it is when you feel bad. At the moment, I'm very sort of neutral. I've seen the challenges. I know the challenges that we face. This is a new territory for us. But I also believe from those tough moments that you can actually build something even more special if you come out the other side, and that's a big if. So for me, the priority now is the players that we have fit and available, and making sure that they're fully understanding of what's expected of them, of what we need to do, and making sure we're resilient enough to deal with a lot of outside noise, a lot of speculation on us, which through no fault of our own is negative. And we need to cut that out and unite even stronger. I think everything's at play because I think I've said many times, he is contracted to us, he's our player. The club basically make the decision on his future. I don't know what that will be. Of course, I have a preferred outcome. I want the best and strongest squad possible, but also I want players that really want to play for this football club.